time skip. So I think we put a little bit of a thorn in the inside whenever we talked about time skips in the Shadowlands so much, because he kind of had to squash that one in a subsequent interview. But now it does seem there may be a time skip. Now we can't exactly tell you that this is canonical. It does appear in the alpha, but only really appeared for characters in a certain state from a past build. When they went to a location, then it would trigger this dialogue. But the core of the dialogue basically is, Matthias Shaw says, several years have passed since Azeroth's heroes returned from the realms of death. So basically time skip. Multiple year time skip. And I think the challenge there is, if there's a time skip, then Blizzard has a lot of time to fill.
Yeah.
Are they going to fill that? Because it makes less sense to just have night elves rambling about the places as refugees. If you kind of do a time skip, or of course there still will be some refugees, but you'd like to think that there'd be some sort of night elf story to explain what they've done in this time skip. And the same basically applies to every other pending plot point in the entire game. It's really hard to do a time skip well, especially when you've got limited storytelling time.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling that they'll probably remove that line and kind of go, it's been a wee bit. Let's not say it's been long enough for anything to actually happen. Everything's been worked on like politically and stuff like that. And I imagine they'll pull out those kind of things and go, Stormwind's a little bit too much on unrest, blah, blah, blah. We can't really solve all these problems. Because, like you say, everything is like, all of those bits are big enough story beats that you have to devote a decent amount of storytelling time to them. Because if one day the Night Elves go away and it's handled in like 2 lines of dialogue, people will go, well, you didn't really do that justice after how much damage you did. We want to see this fully represented. We want like not like a full cutscene, but we want a little nice in-game cinematic. And people go, if Tranda getting this all sorted out and stuff. So it's like they could do that, but then they're just spending a lot of time and budget and effort on cleaning up the Shadowlands mess, and they really probably want to get away from that. So I imagine they'll just kind of anything that could maybe hint that it's been a couple of years as opposed to maybe a year or two. A couple is two, but you know what I mean? The kind of 4 or 5, several years kind of implies we're talking 5, 6 here, so there's enough room for things to happen. They'll probably squash it all down and say, we've got enough time to fill in our chosen choice of Dragonflight stuff here, because you are trying to fill a little bit of that. But I will counter that by saying there's a little bit of hope in taking, I guess, stories and giving them a little bit of justice, because we've got Karag Grimtotem as one of the antagonists of the like Dragonflight immediately. So as long as they do that some form of justice and explain that character a little bit, which I really hope they do, because I think I was complaining about this a little bit in Sanctum and Sepulchre, of like bosses are literally who's most of the time.
Yeah.
Whereas you get so much more weight if a boss is like a character you've met before and hung out with. And they're doing a really good job of that in the Forbidden Reach. Of like, here's Karag, here's Raskazeth, stuff like that. So I think that's they'll maybe do a little bit of justice to old stories, but in terms of time skip stuff, I imagine they'll squash it. Because why would you make a cinematic with that when you can make a new thing? A new thing, a cool thing you want to do?
The time skip, you could fill that out in a book, but then that just gets us back to another host of problems.
That's exactly what I'm a little bit worried about, right? They'll maybe just kind of do that, and hopefully it does the job for a lot of people, like, because that's the answer to, say, the Night Elf problem. That's the answer to all the politics, because they've kind of been shown to do that a little bit before, where they're like, okay, well, here's some political intrigue. Well, we can't put that in the game because we can't make a 2.5 minute cinematic about political intrigue because no one gives a shit. And we also can't write a whole massive amount of text or quest dialogue because our storytelling style is so bombastic. Fuck it, put it in a book. We'll have to. All right, wheel out Golden Christie. we know you're getting tired, but could you write some Stormwind politics?
This time you have 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah, you have 10 days, and we'll be generous this time. We'll give you 15 minutes extra on your lunch from your Blizzard job to do this job of also patching up Blizzard's mistakes.
That's still the most insane story.
Yeah, just write the important book on your lunch break, no big deal. But yeah, no, I think that's my issue. They'll probably not. It's weird, right? Because they've been trying with Stay a While and Listens, but I don't know if people really care about those very much, outside of them being Wowhead entries. But maybe that's me kind of reading into it a little bit too.
Yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see. It's like there's a bit of me that's excited, and it would be I'd be excited by that purely because of the prospect of, hey, here's a new narrative foundation. We've taken a time skip. Here's all these stories. This is what happened. This is our new foundation. We're moving forward from here. WoW will feel like WoW. Don't worry. Like there's a bit that wants that, but is it really necessarily realistic when it comes to implementing that in a way that's just not really fucking confusing to everybody? Because people would be really confused if just the state of the world is different and a book covers it, which wouldn't be ideal.